how are you?
You right?
All good.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming. Beautiful people, welcome back to another episode of Podcast with Pari. It's great to have you guys tune in. Thank you for tuning in. Today we're joined by someone who you'd all know, someone who runs one of the finest establishments I think Harare, Zimbabwe has ever seen. One of the longest standing establishments here in Zimbabwe. This place goes by the name of Tin Roof, and the owner of Tin Roof, in her very fine form herself, we've got Jessica Bray. Jessica, welcome to the show. It's good to have you here. We're excited to hear all the goss, all the news, the sort of start and the journey of Tin Roof. So get excited for it, and let's see how we go. Let's get into it. Good people, Jessica Bray of Tin Roof. We're joined by her, and it's so exciting to have Jay Bray on the show. I hope you guys can take a lot out of this. I almost want this episode to be half of a learning experience as much as it is a bit of an insight of how Tin Roof works and our hospitality/entertainment industry. So Jess, welcome to the show. It's good to have you on.
Thanks, Pari. Thanks for having me.
It's Tin Roof itself, probably the longest standing bar establishment in Zim. We've seen many that have come and fallen. Would you say that's a fair shot?
Yeah, I think so. I always just think of the Red Lion as my biggest competition, but that's dealing with a long time of history.
That's history, yeah.
But yeah, I can't really think of a different place that's done the longevity that we have.
Well, how many years has it been?
We turned 13 in March.
13. Here we go. 13 years of
13. Lucky number 13.
Well, Jess, because you own one of the finest establishments in Zim, one that I'm sure all of us are familiar with. So what we're going to do is just start the show by a cheeky little 1, 2, 3. And for me to officially congratulate you and say well done for having this fine establishment.
Thank you, Pari.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a buffalo shout out.
Even me. It's just a bit of a tequila to calm the nerves.
Yeah, chilled on a Thursday. Occupational hazard Thursday.
Jess, I would love to just start off by hearing the story of the conception of Tin Roof. When did Tin Roof start? How did it start? Why did it start? I'd love to hear all about that.
Okay, we're in for a bit of a long story, but I'll try get you the highlights package.
Yeah.
So obviously we were ex-farmers, and we grew up in a place called Tingui, which had a fantastic Tingui club, and that was where we, as a family, would always go, and like every Thursday night was club night, Saturday was cricket, Sunday was cricket, and tennis days or whatever. So the whole family used to go out there. And we had a fantastic community when we were younger. When obviously the land invasion happened, we got kicked off and we moved to Harare. We needed somewhere like that, and we hunted for years and years. That was the biggest core that was missing from our lives at the time. So we kept thinking about it and like, should we take over a sports club? We just want this. And then I went to varsity. I studied hotel management at varsity. Never learned anything at varsity. And then
where did you go to varsity?
Varsity College in Cape Town. Took an extra year to get a diploma because, again, distracted by human. And then came home and I was working for Honey Bear, and I was working for $25 a night and drinking that mostly, coming home after a swim at 5 in the morning, crashing all day on the couch. My dad was very upset with this. Like, no, this is not a lifestyle. And the complex came up. My dad actually went down to Lewisham, and there was a hardware store out for rent, where Lewisham Hardware is now. And he saw the advert. He was like, yeah, I want to open a hardware store. So he applied, and they accepted him. And then he drove past another day, and there was branding going up on the side of the road. And it wasn't for his hardware store, it was for a DeFi store or something. It's like, what is this? And I said, oh, no, sorry. you're not renting this, you're renting downstairs. So he went downstairs, and I mean, he called me from there, and he was like, I can't put a hardware store here. There's no road frontage. Nobody's ever going to come here.
Yeah.
But I can see a Tengu club. And so he called me and my mum, and off we trot and get down there. The grass was above my head. It went all the way up to the first garage door. And he said, I think that this is a vibe. I was like, yeah, let's do this. So we all teamed in, and I had obviously many years of experience in Cape Town, so I took the 3 concepts from my favorite places. There was a place in, I can't remember the exact area, but it's called Oblivion, which was a classy-ish wine bar, which turned into this...
Just bloody...
Oh wow, it was such a vibe. It had double glazed doors in the middle of a residential area, and like, come 11 o'clock at night, the lights are dimmed, the dance floor lit up into the checkered dance floor, and there was a stripper pole there.
Wow.
And next minute you went from classy to being really fun.
To rogue.
To way rogue. Pari's, everybody's been to Pari's.
Yeah.
It's a great pub vibe.
Have a bit of pizza, have a beer.
And then the Tin Roof from Claremont. So Tin Roof in Claremont always plays great tracks, cheap drinks, and free entry, always. So I took those 3 concepts. Obviously my mum and dad had their influence as well. They knew what they wanted out of the place. And the concept was that we were going to have a Tengu club. Families were welcome. And our first Friday, I remember it so clearly, I'd said, right, let's bring a buggy night. Like, I don't want the youth. I want the buggies. Yeah. They're easier to deal with. They've been around the block. Let's do that. And 3 weeks later, my bring a buggy night fielded 400 people.
Stop it.
It was crazy. I was serving vodka. We'd run out of glassware. So I'm pouring half the vodka out, topping it up with Coke, $5 over the counter. Do you want ice? Sure, that's another $5 and I'll sell you the bag. Oh my God, it was so fun.
So that's how Tin was birthed.
That was the concept. And the name was, I was mortified. We had city council there to go through all the checks, and we were building a tin roof at the time. On the little veranda, not the big veranda now. And she had asked my dad what we were going to call it. And him and I were discussing the tin roof. And next minute she'd written down the tin roof. I was mortified. All of my friends in Cape Town are going to think I've got separation anxiety. And
you wanted to bring a tin roof to
I need tin roof. And it stuck, and I couldn't get rid of it. I said to my dad, come on.
So it was a mistake? It was a mistake,
yeah. Yeah.
No, Bray.
Yeah, I promise you, it was such a mistake. And sure enough, my mates came back for the first salmon run, and they were like, Jesus, did you get separation anxiety? Did you have to build another tin roof?
I actually thought it was a franchise of tin roof.
I know, absolutely not.
So you got nothing to do there?
No. I've met them. A friend of a friend knows the owner. Sorry, promise I didn't steal it.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, so that's how it began. Started off as a garage, as you well know, like a little hole in the wall. And then we just developed, I bought my first laptop after 3 months, because at the time...
How old were you at this time?
I was 21.
So you started a nightclub at 21?
Yeah.
Oh,
but Keegan had been in nightclubs before. He'd done Crazy Kangaroo and... I can't remember the others. Escape.
Sorry, just to give context to the viewers, because not everyone might not know who Keegan and whatnot is. So Keegan's your brother.
My younger brother, yes.
Your younger brother?
Yeah. I used to work for him on my back, so it's nightclubs.
So is this a family establishment at Tin Roof? Is it how would you say?
Yes. So my parents and I started it. Keegan wasn't involved at the time. He's never been involved, but hospitality definitely runs in our family. My grandfather owned a hotel, the Skyline Motel, back in the D. We've always been somewhat affiliated to it. We've got a safari camp now. It runs with us. I think, I don't know. I decided at 14 that I wanted to be in hospitality or eventing. Tried to get to the Swiss Hotel School. Quite glad I didn't do it, because that would be fine dining.
It's not that definitely is not the route we can see you taking.
No, I quite like what I do now.
Okay, so mum and dad have shares in Tenerife?
They did. I bought them out last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now Tenerife is
It's all mine.
Jessica. Yes, Jessica Bray.
Bray.
Come on,
Got
Jessica.
it.
Well done, man.
Thank you.
So now you are the sole owner.
I am the sole owner, yeah.
Well done.
12 years later.
And are you happy you've done that? Was their input not valuable? Did you not want their need?
No, definitely not. I mean, I can't take away anything that my parents did for me. It was incredible. It started so small. What we created as a team was, none of us could ever perceive what was coming. And their input, their support, you'll always see my dad cleaning a table there. You'll always see my mom making something straight. She was incredible in developing the menu. So we all had our different roles in the beginning. I knew the bar side. I didn't really. I just tried, wung it. Mum was very good at catering. She's done it most of her life, team clubs, functions, cricket days. It's feed 50 people.
Yes, yeah.
But she developed the menu, and then Dad was the build. And we were so lucky. It's been described to me as the perfect storm. Everybody that has contributed. Our family is, my granny used to come to Tenerife. She used to bring all of her friends. My parents are 5 years apart. Their different demographics came through. Then came me, and then Keegan and Squashy. Squashy's 8 years younger than me. He brought in his demographic, so it just rolled over. And we were just so lucky that it happened that way.
Amen.
Yeah.
I remember was it 2006 or 2007 that it started? No, a lie. What's
2011.
2011. Check my maths. Anyways, 2011, and Mike Swan came to visit my family.
Yeah.
And he's a very good friend of my brother, so he was talking to my brother and my mum. And he's like, geez, there's this new place called the Tin Roof, and he said they've got eggshells on their roofs, and it's a small little pub, but it turns into an absolute humbling of the evening. I'll never forget it. And I was I think maybe form 3 or form 4 at the time.
My favorite type.
And I was like, geez, I know this place is like. I'm like, sorry, can you take us there? You're like, no, don't take you too young. Anyways, that was the first time I'd ever heard about Tenerife. And then from then on, now you go to school in Form 4, and now your mates are talking about it. They're like, oh, shall we try this new place? And so, hearing the start of it all, okay, and where you've come from, hearing about those eggshells and
that was cheap soundproofing. Best soundproofing in the world is an egg box.
There you go.
And we couldn't afford to. And we didn't know. We didn't know what we were doing. We were winging it every day. So we were told that we had to soundproof in order to get a nightclub license. So we asked around, and they said no egg boxes. So we put the egg boxes up, and then we put the pallets underneath.
Yes.
To make it look a little bit better. It did. It's certainly better than the soundproofing that I've got today. But
and the writing on the walls, and it's just and there's the one wall that's just opposite the bar that's still got all the writings. It's still there.
No, I painted over it. It got a little bit too much. I did take a photo. That was hysterical. I was living in the digs at the time, and with 6 boys. One of them being. I'd seen this writing on the wall. In fact, it might have been his idea. It's like, no, we've got to sign the wall. So he. I gave him a permanent marker. I just finished painting. I painted that place myself with Sarah Moore's. And I gave him the marker, and he just drew the biggest. It's like... So,
Here we go.
I'm there with the Gino trying to scrub it off. That looked real good. Like, oh my God. But it stuck. And then there were so many things that happened on that wall. Like, lots of people signed it that I'll never see again. I'd actually be interested to see how many people in the world have been to Tenerife. And I would love to know how far the reach is.
Yes. You should have like a guest book. Just as you
won't be able to read the writing. I was here.
Well, what you should have done is like what they've done with the Berlin Wall, and have like a cutout of the wall and put it,
unfortunately, youth gets in the way, and then they started like branding it with bad words and like colouring it in, and just didn't look. It never looked cool, but it served a purpose.
It was heritage.
Yeah, and as as the youth come through with most things, they don't understand what it was. It's like graffitiing something.
But I've got to say how amazing it is for a 21-year-old to come and open up a bar. And 13 years later, it is.
Still be in the race.
It is. Well, you're not just in the race. In my opinion, I think you're leading the race. And to have that consistency is for one unheard of, special. And what you've done for people in Zimbabwe is you provided. You can almost call it a home. You know that saying, all roads lead to Tin. You know, and it has become a national monument, national treasure in Zimbabwe.
Sorry, you're going too far.
Has it not?
Well, I mean, for us, it's what we wanted. We worked towards it, and we're lucky enough to keep the consistency. It's not an easy job. Everybody thinks it looks peachy because they get to drink all day, but it comes with its downfalls. I'm fortunate enough that I love it. I've always loved my job. There are obviously dark days, and there's days where people behave badly, and I've got to get involved in it. But the majority of it, I've loved every single step of the way of it, and it's not a challenge for me. Whereas other people find it challenging, but it looks easy.
So you get up and you go to Tenerife every day, and you're like, geez, you know what? I don't mind this. This is like I enjoy what I do. What do you love most about it?
I love the freedom that I've got to play. It's all within my field. So I love eventing. I love the fact that I get to create whatever I want, whenever I want. Like, okay, we've got the World Cup Rugby coming. I got back from Vegas 3 days before the World Cup Rugby final. It was the second biggest night of our lives. It was insane. And you can do that. You can make it good. So I love. I also just love the fact that every day is different. Every time I walk in there, I don't know who I'm going to bump into. Yesterday I bumped into a friend that I haven't seen for 30 years. Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
And everybody just gravitates towards it. So it's never mundane. I always said I'm never going to be behind a desk. Right now I'm behind a desk 90% of my time. But when I get to play, I have a lot of fun doing it.
And you get to play with people that you like to play with, because all your mates come there, and if I
don't like them, I go home.
Yeah, so it's like you've got the best of both worlds.
I really do, yeah.
And do you think this is Jay Bray for the next 20 years? Is this the things could change? Who knows?
Yeah, you never really know.
You never know. But is this what you see yourself?
I was asked this question the other day, and for the foreseeable future, 100%. I've definitely got another 5 years in me.
Yeah.
Possibly another 10. What my life brings to me, I mean, if I get married and have children, it's not conducive to a family lifestyle. I can't be dragging my toddlers to a bar every day. But for now, yes, I can't see myself doing anything else. And I genuinely love it. I go to work every day. I'm excited. Like, obviously, admin kills me, but I do get excited about.
What are some of the tough things? What are some of the what are the not so glory things that none of us get to experience or know about, or things that you battle with?
I mean, this country is difficult. I never know when I'm going to get a visit from the police, and you never know what that's going to bring. I've been taken down to Central and shoes all fingerprinted for insulting a police officer when I was completely within my rights. They followed me home. They've driven into my house. They've parked me into my house. I can't leave. As a single person and living by yourself, that's scary. And who do you call? That's our authority. And they're out of line. They shouldn't be on my property. Those are challenging. Managing the public is also always fun.
You never know what you're going to get, right?
You never know.
Like you just said, everyone's different.
Everyone's different. You don't know if you're dealing with a drug problem. You don't know if you're dealing with somebody that's drinking brandy. I mean, I took brandy off the menu because it halved my fights in a year.
Did it actually when you took it off?
It genuinely did, yeah.
Stop it.
No brandy after 10.
Makes you fight properly.
I learned that in Steelies, and I just played with it. Let's take it off. Let's see what happens. And sure enough, 50% of my fights went away.
Is it?
Yeah. And in those days, I mean, I didn't have bouncers. I didn't have any form of security. I was running around with a taser. breaking up fights. Sorry, so please don't do that.
Were you tasing people?
I only tased 2. But
Do they drop?
one guy flopped around like a fish out of water. I was so thrilled. He was such a dick.
That is too funny.
But then he got up, and that was more terrifying. And they
Yeah,
bounced out.
yeah.
Oh wow! Like that was one of my trickiest. They set the car park on fire.
No.
And you are helpless. You can't do anything more. So those get tricky. I mean, I've tried to stop somebody from drink driving once. They were out of control. I had to kick them out. I got in their car, trying to park their car. They grabbed me by my ponytail, threw me on the floor, and punched me in the face. Like, that's me trying to save your life. I'm not interested in that. Like rolling around with a fat lip for the rest of the week. I tried to stop somebody from being badly behaved.
I'm sorry, this what I'm trying to do in my head now is to try and line this conversation up so that it flows freely. But some of the things you bring up, I've got to jump on them. And, because it's just like how does this? So I'm trying to make it as as free flowing as possible. But you just drop something you're saying. I'm like,
some jams.
Well, you've got to touch on that. One of them that you just mentioned actually is the drink driving, okay? And drink driving in Zimbabwe is just one. I just don't think it's policed well enough. So there's nothing. It's just so easy for people to do it, right? Because if you get caught, I'm not saying anything against our law enforcement, but you can probably get out of it with the right means, okay? So in turn, it allows people to drink drive. And then owning an establishment like Tin Roof, where you've got half of a Ferrari coming in, and there's you get absolutely lit, right? And you go home and drive, and there's an accident. Do you wear that weight on your chest? Is it something that's like, or is it free will? How do you handle that?
You absolutely cannot not hold that weight. They left Tin Roof. I didn't force a drink down their throat. I didn't make them get in the car. But I created a place where they could do that. It is every time that there's an accident, I have been known to drink half a bottle of scotch on the carpet and bawl my eyes out because of a really, really bad situation. We didn't go into it to create an accident. We didn't go into it to create somebody getting in their car and driving. It's done every day. We know that. But it weighs heavily on me. I can't fathom like the loss of a person, what that does to their family, because I created something. On the same token, as I said earlier, I didn't put the drink in their mouth. I didn't get in the car. At some stage, there has to be some responsibility for it. As a friend of mine said to me quite recently, actually, he said, did they drive to Tin? Yes. How did they expect to get home? I mean, I tried to park somebody's car and I got punched in the face. I'm not going to stop there now. But this is also the thing about being 18 and drinking. There's a reason why you should be 18 and allowed to drink. It's because you're mature enough to handle alcohol. To an extent. I mean, we've all had some mays. But you, as an adult, have to be able to make the right decision. It's not my responsibility to stop you. It's not your parents' responsibility. You make that choice. You get in the car, it's on you. It's very tricky to say that, knowing that.
No, not at all.
But that's the reality of it. You've got to. If you go to Tin Roof and you get into a fight, I mean, I was doing these school talks at some stage about responsible drinking and how to manage yourself in a bar. If you get into trouble, who to call, what to do about it. And I asked a bunch of boys, they were 16, I said, how many of you have been in a fight? Lots of hands went up. How many of you were doing it? All of the hands go up. I said, why were you fighting? Oh ma'am, somebody moved my cap. That is the reality.
Really?
Like,
Yeah.
You got into a bar fight because somebody touched your cap. Have you lost your mind?
Ridiculous.
Would you do that sober? And no, the answer is no. Nobody's going to punch you in the face because you moved someone's cat if you're sober. Learn to manage alcohol. Know what to drink. If you're 18, you should not be drinking vodka. You've lost your mind. Drink a beer. We'll get you there.
In due time. But how does that now weigh on your, even just like your mental health, Ray? Because you've said, having a half bottle of whiskey on the cupboard because you can't fathom it. But I can't imagine. One, how does it weigh on it? But how do you also manage it? Like, how do you handle it, or how do you cope? Is a better question.
Pari, it has taken years. Not only because of the drama, but also being 21 and working at being a co-owner of the establishment at the time. There is a lot of ego that goes with that. There's a lot of power. I mean, I was wielding a taser, so you've got to deal with.
Is that even legal?
Yes, it is. Actually, you can't have the ones that shoot.
Okay. You can have the ones that.
You can have the little cattle product. That's okay.
Yeah.
But 21 years old, you've got a massive ego boost. You also have control over the nightlife of Ferrari at that time. And then you're dealing with fights, egotistical people, like a lot of big dick players that walk in and say, do you know who I am? You're dealing with a lot, especially at, when they say the witch's hour is real. Nothing good happens after 12.
Is that the witch's hour?
That's the witching hour. I was working, I would start work at 9 in the morning, I would finish at 5 in the morning, repeat, 8 Red Bulls a day, breaking up fights. It was really bad for me. I ended up...
Can't be healthy.
No, it's not healthy. I went to go and get my health checks, and my doctor said to me, you're running at this rate, I think I was about 25, 26. You carry on going like this, you're going to die of a heart attack. 26 years old. Your cortisol and your testosterone are running at parallel. If they cross over, you're out. So I had to stop then and there. And I've done a lot of internal work. I've got a fantastic counsellor, which I try and see quite regularly.
So you've got a shrink, you see, eh?
Yeah.
Good.
Love it. It's like my time. These are my issues. They can be small, they can be massive. And you've got to be able to talk to somebody and to manage it. Also with a family dynamic, it gets quite complicated because I love my family, but when you're all absorbed in the same drama, you've got to be able to walk away. Because normally I would go to my family and say, right, this is what the problem is. But when we're all facing the same thing, you've got to get some outside perspective. And so, I've done a lot of work on myself.
Good.
And
it's a constant work in progress, isn't it?
Always. I mean, every day's a learning day.
You never get to the end of it, and you never get to a place where you're like, hey, I'm fine.
And nor should we.
Yeah.
Every day is there to teach you something.
Absolutely.
Milk it.
And I think just on that note, just even to everyone listening, I personally think that there's nothing wrong with going and seeing somebody, and I think to a certain degree everyone should be seeing somebody, because it's one prevention is better than cure. Before you get to a stage where you're in complete need, why not just start now? And I think seeing someone is important. And thank you for bringing that up, because I think it's great. And
if you had a broken leg and somebody offered you help, would you refuse the help?
No.
Like, my counsellor said to me, she said, you can meet me here and you can do the hard work yourself, or you can jump on my coattails and go with me and learn from what I've done.
Yes. And
go faster. Like, Jesus, why wouldn't I take the easy way out? Let's go with that route. That sounds fun.
But it sounds like you throughout it all, just to separate that now, you've had a lot of fun, running the tin, and I'm sure you've met some of the most interesting characters, interesting people. I'm sure you've had all sorts walking, because now if say anyone comes to Zim, if it's a celebrity, a good friend of yours, if it's and people ask, oh, where shall we go for dinner tonight, or where shall we go for a drink? More often than not, you're going to say, oh, Tin Roof, oh, mate, you should try the tin. I'd be curious to hear how some people or anyone you met just walk through the doors and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he's in the tin, you know, or she's in the tin.
Yeah, I've had a couple. I mean, I played quiz the other night, and a friend of mine had invited, he was part of the ICC, invited me to join their table, and it was all the ICC guys, but not the cricket players, the guys behind the scenes, the event planners. And I was in hysterics because I sat at the table very quietly, which is unusual, and this guy sat down and he was sitting on the outside in the new veranda area, and it was like very quiet. I've been here before. And I was sitting quietly listening. Like, yeah, about 8 years ago, this chick locked us in. We had a time with him and Chris Gale.
No.
Picked me up and dragged me around. He was like, I can't believe I'm dancing with the owner. I was like, what is this? I didn't even know who he was.
You got locked in the room with Chris Gale?
We had a lock-in at Tin. I locked the doors. We were having too much fun.
No ways.
Chris Gale was part of the party. It was hysterical.
That's unbelievable. Don't blush, baby. that's I love that.
Like, yeah, as you say, people walk through the doors all the time. I've had numerous cricket players come through. It's always a laugh.
Oh, the cricketers love the piss, don't they?
They're real good at
it. If you're playing your own sports club, you're probably going to end up in 10.
I mean, I had a random dinner with one of the Irish cricket players and the Irish cricket commentator at the time, and they came for a casual dinner on a Thursday, and we had the most ridiculous storm. They were saying, what is this place? It was waterfalls coming out of the gutter.
Yeah.
Like, I promise you, it's not always like this. We couldn't leave, it was raining too hard. But I was like, what a way to show off the product. But gone down in the memory for sure.
What earlier you mentioned that the World Cup final 2023 was your second biggest night. What I'm curious to know what your first biggest night was. What your biggest night was.
Casual Tuesday, when Mugabe resigned. Never seen anything like it.
Really?
I was actually doing 1000-Day CEO with Jeremy Brooke. We were based at the Bronte. And our lecturer, one of the side lecturers, stood up because he was hooting and noise and everything going on in the same time. And she stood up and she said, listen, Mugabe's just resigned. So Jeremy said, right, anybody that feels the need to leave, they can. So I stood up, I was the only person that does. And he looked at me and like
really? Are you
going to walk out?
Yeah.
And then he looked at me and was like, get out. Go. And I got in the car, it was a 20-minute drive, too much traffic, and I phoned my managers and said, right, get every person that works for us, and they've got to be on site now. Get the DJs in, get the bouncers in, this is going to be a time. Are you sure, Jess? Everyone, I promise you. And I got to 10, it was about 5:30 in the evening, and it must have been about 6:30. And there were 15 people there. It's like, oh God, I've overcooked it.
Yeah.
I've had. And then it was chaos. It was just people coming in all over the place. We had the army guys on people's shoulders. It was such a celebration. And people were walking in with their cooler boxes and meeting me on the stairs, and they were like, I'm so sorry. I was like, no, please, come on in.
Let's go.
I cannot serve you. It is too manic. And I remember a friend of mine phoning me from Zambia to say, what's it like there? I said, I'm not talking to you now. I've got so much work to do. I had my first drink at 3 a.m.
Because what, it was just so busy?
It was so busy. I've never, ever seen people like that.
How many people do you reckon?
Well over 2,000 over the night.
Wow.
Rolling through. It was, I mean, at the time we had...
What's Tin's capacity?
Good question.
Who knows, eh? You can't even call it.
If there's space, they'll take it.
Yeah.
I think we got about 1,600 to 1,800 over the World Cup final. And you could not move in there.
I heard it wasn't.
Oh no, it was crazy. It was like every table was full, the grandstands were full, the people were sitting on my new D-blocking on all my new flowers. Please be serious.
So that Mugabe night, that was massive.
And also just such a good energy at the time. I mean, we'd done that march into town to the coup days, the coup that wasn't a coup.
Yes.
And then to have an unexpected result like that on a Tuesday night, and just the whole town erupted. It was so fun. What a time to be alive. I mean, and everybody's energy was just so on point. It was just, everybody was so happy.
Off the back of that, when you say Tenerife is a predominantly white establishment, it's just one saying sort of the night that Mugabe resigned is the biggest turnover. Were there black people there as well, or was it?
Yeah, there were. There were definitely black people there. It is predominantly white. We know that. It's not a secret. It's not for. It's just what it is. You know. It's not that I've directed it in any manner.
But why do you think that would be the case? Or is it just because it's a it's a 10-week club that you brought to Pari?
I don't think it's classy enough, to be honest.
Is it?
You know, blackos, they like their white shoes.
Yeah.
If you step out the car and stand in a puddle of mud, you're going to be bleak.
Yeah.
Also, we are what we are. There's no service. I mean, we've got fantastic service staff, but there's 4 of them. We sat 200 people the other day. You go to any other restaurant, there's at least 8 people rolling around and they serve half the capacity. There's no service. You can't click your fingers and go, I need a drink.
Yes.
We're not a showy place. You can't put a bottle of scotch on the table.
No one cares.
No one cares. You're sitting at a bar bench.
Yeah.
You're not there to be seen, let's put it that way.
So why do you think Tenerife has had so much longevity over the years?
I don't know. I think it's exactly that. I mean, we work hard at it. We are not frills. It is what it is. And I think that we need that. There's a place that everybody's welcome, if you behave, mostly. There's a place that you can go in your shorts and shirt from the farm and be covered in mud. Fine, go there. It's human. You're not going there in your high heels and to be like, oh, did you see me on Instagram this week? It's not going to work. Nobody cares.
It's not your place.
You're going for the right reason. You're going to hang out with your pals or your family. You're not going to order the martinis and firstly because we don't offer it.
The drinks are affordable. You get a $2 beer, you get a $3 gourmet.
We've never ever advertised anything other than that. Like, the drinks are reasonable. The food is good. It's always value for money. And you can sit there for as long as you like. I'm not going to kick you out until 4 in the morning when I'm tired.
Yeah.
Behave yourself. Be a gentle person. Go there for the right reason. Go there to have fun with your friends. That's why we created it. Don't go there to fight. It's a pointless activity.
How do you manage the young people, the underagers coming through? Yes, you've got bouncers there now, but how can you control it? Can you?
You can't. And I've tried for years, and it's a catch-22. There is always going to be underage children drinking. They've all got fake IDs. The girls these days have got TikTok and makeup tricks. They look 22. I mean, I get it wrong now. I ID'd a girl the other day. I was like, oh my god. You look amazing, you know. But I mean, you cannot get in there without an original ID. It causes a lot of grief. The parents that shout at me for that, oh, my child only got this paper, blah, blah, blah. It's not my problem. Because what happens at the end of the day is if something goes wrong, it's all peachy whilst everything's going right.
Yeah.
When something goes wrong, it's my fault. Oh, my daughter's drink got spiked. Oh, that's cute. How old is your daughter? Oh, she's 17. Why was she there?
Why was she there, yeah.
Why was she there? Did you let her out? Did you drop her off? Were you her first point of call when everything went wrong? Probably not. And it's a massive problem for me because I get a lot of flack for it. I get pressure to have underage drinking. It is illegal at the very start. If you are underage, under 18, you are not allowed to drink in this country. Therefore, it is not my responsibility. I lose my liquor license. Do we want to sacrifice Tenerife's liquor license for your precious 17-year-old? No, I don't. You don't.
No,
we all like a job.
No, we want to be there.
So why jeopardize that? Also, when it goes wrong, and it has gone badly wrong over time, I've had girls spiked, they've ended up in ICU. Meantime, half of them have been experimenting in MDMA and not knowing what they're doing.
Well, lots of drugs, would you say that happen at Tenerife?
Tons of drugs.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't drink it.
Nor do you want to. Do I want to get involved with a drug addict or a drug dealer?
Yeah.
Not really. It's high risk.
It's high risk, yeah.
I've tried. I watched all of my friends. I mean, I know of at least 19 people that have gone to rehab. I know a lot of people that are in severe debt. Some people can't come back to the country. And in the beginning, I saw it coming. Sat everybody down and said, guys, you've got a snag. And this is only going to get worse. Oh no, it's not a problem. Or I'm not on drugs. 5 years down the line, they're in rehab. It's heavy. And everybody in this country thinks it will never happen to them. They want to play with it. But it's not going to happen to me. I'm not going to rehab. And that's how it starts. And we've seen the results.
Is there a big drug culture, do you think, in Zim?
Definitely, yeah.
You think so?
Yeah. I do think that it's certain people that make it, certainly in the last 3 years, it became sort of trending. I think the trend is tapering off, certainly with cocaine. MDMA and ecstasy and that is rampant. I don't think we'll ever be able to get on top of that. But my concern is, what does that lead to next? If you're chasing the high, you're always chasing a high in life. But if it's coming in a drug form.
And what age demographics do you reckon that's most
I think the cocaine started in the 40s. It's now coming down. It's now, I would say, the 25-year-olds are dabbling there. The 18 to 22-year-olds are playing with ecstasy and MDMA. I mean, we can see it on turnovers. Turnover drops from a certain period of time, and they're there for the music. You look on the dance floor, there's nobody drinking. When we opened, I mean, people were buying bottles of rum and drinking it out of a bucket. Like, you don't see that anymore.
So it shows that the culture has gotten worse regarding drugs over time.
Yeah, and we can watch it. So I actually had an interesting chat to my DJs over the last month. It's like, I'm watching the turnover. It's dropping between these periods. What do you think is going on? Because I've got a suspicion. And we agreed that it was drugs, and not most of it, but certainly affected by the music, which I also think is quite interesting.
The sort of music that's being played.
The music that's been playing. So now we are actively changing the set of music so it doesn't cater for people that are like, good old Brian Adams. If you're on MDMA, you don't have to listen to Brian Adams, you're going to have the worst time. But the electronic beats and stuff, we've taken that off. That's not available anymore. So
really, yeah?
Yeah, and it's new, so it's interesting. I'm interested to see what it's going to do to change it.
But can you police it in any way? What can you do? How can you,
I don't think you can. There's an old trick we did used to do this. You spray MDMA on the top of WD-40 on the top of it.
It's funny you people with MD,
There's no money in that. But if you spray WD-40 on the top of the toilet, if somebody takes cocaine, it's said to make your nose bleed quite quickly afterwards, and they tend to go home. But I don't think that there is a method of, if you want to take drugs, you will take drugs. If you want to drink, you will drink. I mean, we know people that put vodka into their coffee in the morning. So it's just, it comes down to responsibility for yourself.
And like what you said earlier, you're providing, you've got an establishment where people come to enjoy whatever you do there. Yes, you want it to be as kosher and as
above board as
possible, but there's only so much you can do.
There's also only so much that I'm responsible for.
Correct.
If as I said earlier, if your child is out at 17, that is not a me problem. You should know where your child is. In fact, if your child is out until 25 years old, know where your kid is. If something goes wrong, who do they phone? Because so often I've had this conversation like, okay, you had a car accident. Are you going to phone your parents? No, I'm too scared. How are you too scared? They brought you into this world. Like, they are your port of call. That relationship between the parent and the child needs to exist for when things go south. Learning how to behave properly when drinking. Don't go and get into a fight because somebody moved your cap. Are you mad? Learn to manage your alcohol. Do that at home with your parents. what is acceptable at your house? Because that's what you bring to the bar.
How much of it comes back to you? And how much do people expect to come back to you in terms of like, I can phone Jess, she's the owner, okay, she must sort it out, you know, where's you like, so how much of that comes back to you?
I mean, that is a constant, it never goes away. My phone rings until 4 o'clock in the morning, most nights.
Do you answer it?
No. I'll answer it if it looks severe. I'll answer from my management. I'll answer from my friends, but I've changed my number because of that. Like, phone the tin roof number, that's not a me problem. Shame, did you lose your handbag again? Why? It's your handbag.
Why are you calling me at 3 a.m. and saying you lost your handbag? Yeah.
Is it my handbag?
Find it. Sorry.
My favourite is when they phone me on a Monday, the only day that we're off. I put my phone on charge and I really needed to get through my week. Yay! I'll stop my day.
And go and help you find your phone.
I'll go and open the bar, get your phone, because you had too much fun last night. I've lost my car keys. Oh, shame.
How many people do you find in car parks the morning after?
That's hysterical. Hey, so a couple of my mates go to Triton Gym.
Yeah.
And I'll get a message saying big night. We call it the graveyard. What's left in the graveyard this morning?
I had a mate last week, or yeah, it was last week, I'm not going to say his name, but and he's he's a big drinker, but he's not like overboard, you know, when he got blackout drunk in Tenerife, and he reckons he woke up there at 8 a.m. on Sunday morning, and all my car doors are open, and I was passed out on the back seat, and I was like, how the hell do you
get there?
How do you get that bad that you can't even, that you can't at least get in your car and close the doors, but
the stories, Pari, I mean, some guy passed out in the back of somebody else's bucky and woke up halfway down the road from COVID.
That's ridiculous.
People sleeping underneath the cars. I've locked people into tin.
Really?
They passed out somewhere. And we check everywhere.
Someone's finding a nice hiding spot that you found.
I mean, it's a big place.
Jeez, eh? It's hell of an establishment, yes, you know?
I mean, the other day, there were 3 really drunk guys. And I could just see they were sloppy, falling all over the place, and their poor friend, their designated driver, was having a hell of a time trying to get them out. It's like, okay, I'll help you. So I pretended that we were going on an adventure, and they got on board. We off! Come on, guys, we're going on an adventure. So now they're like, yeah, excited. And I walked them to their car. But it was like I really had to make it entertaining.
You got to
keep my followers.
Yeah.
So get them to the car, and I was walking back, and there were 2 guys standing by their car, and they'd seen the whole show, and they were like, hell of a place this. Absolutely right, it's a hell of a place.
Oh, so good. Jake, you mentioned you did Jeremy Brooks' 1,000-day CEO course, which is through Sabre, obviously Jeremy Brook and Brandon Palmer and Sally, you know, it's a well-known course around town. How do you reckon that translated from you doing the course into running into, or did that have any positive impacts? Or
Absolutely. I mean, I came fresh out of varsity, working at Honeybed. There was no exposure. When people chuck big words at you, like the trial balance, like tag,
yeah.
I wasn't ever exposed to it. What that course offers is it simplifies everything. It makes the general pleb, like myself, understand what the big people talk about. And it makes you get a seat at the table in a way. You can all of a sudden speak their language, understand it better. It was very, very helpful to me because they teach it so simply, which I think everything in life is just overcomplicated.
Yeah.
Too many big words. Like, what's the point? Just tell the truth, it's fine.
Would you recommend it for a business?
I would. For me, I loved certain aspects of it were incredible. They certainly turn my business around. They show you a light. Like, I was always happy to lose like 3% of stock. 3% at the end of the year is a lot when you're turning over the numbers, you know, and I'm not happy to lose a lot, but on a day-to-day you are. So when you turn that around, it's a good little trick, they show you what compounding looks like. So it was very, very helpful to me. For me, I mean, I'm not corporate. I hopefully will never have to be corporate. There's a lot of corporate in it, in that course, that went straight over my head and the panic came back. But interesting to understand it, to learn that, because then when you're talking to, because you get exposed to all sorts of people through there.
Yeah.
The bigs, the smalls, the startups. You've got a basic understanding of what they're doing. So therefore you can converse with them, which is my job. I have to talk to people. So
talking about numbers, well, I don't know. I don't want to know the general numbers of Tenerife, but I want to hear about the retirement day. I think lots of people want to hear just from the horse's mouth. There's all the speculation of how much actually, but it would be fun to know, or great to know for the people, if you're willing to. If not, scratch it. What the retirement day looks like? Listen, Pari. No. Talking about say that number that Mugabe resigned. What would Tenerife have turned over that way?
I'm never releasing that. You've got to be mad.
Yeah, can I guess? And you've got to say yes.
I don't think so.
There's two guesses.
Give it a crack. Let's see. It's certainly not what you think it is. Let's put it that way.
Is it?
When you think about it, I mean, the average spend. Well, the average price of a drink is $2 to $3. You've got to sell a lot, to get a massive turnover. Most of the people would say it was like 50, 60 grand a night. I mean, that would be my dream.
That's going to be my first guess.
50 grand. Yeah, no, sir.
That's, okay, well, let's...
You're playing a volumes game. So if each person is walking in and spending $20, to get to 50 grand, I've got to have what? A lot of people through there. 200,000 people. Yeah? It's hard to do.
It's a lot.
We don't have that population that will drink on a Tuesday.
That's fair. Yeah, see, okay, there you go. That makes perfect sense. That answers the question.
So, I mean, it looks glamorous, and when you see numbers, when you see the people that go through there, and you see a Friday night and the dance floor's humming, it looks like we've had a massive turnover and I'm retiring tomorrow. But on top of that, there's overheads. I mean, I've just had to spend 20 grand on a generator. That's 40,000 beers I've got to sell to replace that. That's a lot.
Talking about 40,000 beers that you have to sell, don't you have to, or didn't you sell the most Heineken or Castle Light in an establishment, and you get tickets to the UEFA Champions League final, or
what a time, hey?
But tell me about that.
Again, it was the perfect storm. So we did that. We sold the most Amstel Light, and I stand to be corrected, but I think I've got it right. We sold the most Amstel Light in Sub-Saharan Africa, ex-South Africa, for one place on consignment. So as a result, they sent me to Switzerland, to Zurich, to go and watch the Europa League final.
Really?
Yeah, it was. I don't even like soccer.
So it's
stalling with Ricky Fowler. I don't know who that is.
You took Ricky Fowler?
Yeah.
Unreal.
He was a brand ambassador at the time. I was like, who's that?
Really?
Yeah. But again, perfect storm. At the time, Castle Light, imported Castle Light, had just been introduced to the market. It was flying. Delta took it on. They bogged the recipe. So they were manufacturing locally, and then we got massive consumer resistance. And Amstel Light launched at that time. And next minute our sales went through the roof, and I was in Zurich.
Because it's most sold in a single establishment throughout the year.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
I mean, I've got to give it to the boys,
So that much beer?
We sold that much beer.
Do you know how much it was? How much beer was sold?
I think at the time we were averaging 100 cases a week.
That's 240,000 beers a week.
A month.
Right, a month.
Oh no, 240,000 a week, yeah, quite correct, yeah.
That's wild, eh?
Yeah, it was all the time. It might have been, maybe it was 100 cases a month, but it was...
But even still.
It's still a lot.
And was it like Kanye West tickets sold there once or something?
Oh, so that was also hysterical. We got the highest sales for Castle White as well. And I had other plans, and I got the call from Delta saying we're sending you to Joburg to watch Kanye West. So I said to my folks, listen, there's a trip going to Joburg, but you don't go to watch Kanye West. So, I think my parents were 55 and 60 at the time, and I sent them off to Kanye West.
So Queenie and Buddy went to Kanye?
Yeah, dressed in white, because it was an ice party. So they were dressed in their whites. I phoned my dad in the morning because that is not his thing. So Dad, how did I go? He said I had to listen to somebody talk fast for 11 hours.
Oh, that
This
is
is the
so
spirit.
great. How do you pass on Kanye West tickets, Jay Bray? Whatever other plans you had.
Red Hot Chili Peppers room.
Yeah.
In the cave.
Fair. What are some of, we're gonna come to the conclusion of this.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the biggest lessons you've learned through this journey? Some of your biggest takeaways, highs and lows?
I think the advice that I would give to any parent in this country is firstly ground your children. Secondly, put them behind a bar for some life experience. I learned my biggest lessons serving behind the bar. People are rude to you. They expect service yesterday. I've had plates thrown at me. I've had abuse like you cannot believe. And it teaches you how to manage yourself, to not lose your mind. You treat everybody from the guy that's cleaning the floor and taking out your dustbins to the CEO of some major corporate company in this country. You treat everybody with the same.
Yeah.
Nobody's more important. Everybody serves their purpose. And
Amen.
You've got to be very, very kind to people and polite. Every person that's in this country deserves to be here. So why are we rude to them? We're not any form of superior. You treat everybody the same. And I think it's absolutely vital that we continue that, because as I've said, with egos and climbing the ladder, you can get distracted and get caught up in all that glitters. But your day-to-day, your interactions with people is what counts. And my biggest takeout is to be kind to everybody to an extent. I mean, obviously, if you're being naughty, I'm going to be puffy. But respect everybody. Learn to keep your cool. I've been there. I've lost my shit a lot. It's not a good look. It doesn't make you a nice person. And
Are you temperamental?
I certainly used to be. I could fly off the handle at the drop of a hat. But that's a lot of compounding behavior as well. Late nights, too much exposure to the bad side of life. I mean, what blows my mind is that people still go out and fight. Why are you out? What did you come here for?
It's so almost medieval.
Yeah.
Why? It's not even, are we educated? We educated people. We surely know that fighting doesn't resolve anything.
Yeah.
To me, fighting is the absolute silliest thing you could ever do. Is to fight.
The damage that it causes. I mean, I've had kids, underage kids. This is also quite interesting. Is if you're underage and you get into a bar fight and there is a repercussion from it. I've had an underage child glassed in the face, wearing the scar today, and because he was underage, there was no repercussion for it because he should never have been in the first place. So that is mind-blowing. The sheer fact that somebody can break a glass and put it into somebody else's face or break somebody's jaw in 3 places, that's a lot. It's not okay.
Yeah.
So just to be able to, going back to your question, to be able to manage yourself and go out for the good reasons. Like, you're going out to have fun with your pals. Stick to that.
Yes.
Don't change your course.
Yeah. Some of your lowlights?
Ooh. We touched on them already. It's most certainly when things go badly.
Yeah.
When you get the call to say I need to go through the CCTV footage because my son was beaten up so badly, or a person's had an accident leaving Tin Roof. Certainly my biggest personal struggles has been management of myself. That gets hard. because you can jewel every night. And then you've got to go back to work the next day and look classy. Saying the right thing to the right people. I mean, I'm not very good at it. I never have been. What you see is what you get.
No filter.
No filter.
No filter, Jay Bray. There never has been one, which is a beauty in itself. You know,
It gets me into a lot of trouble. Okay? I mean, I'm exposed to a lot. People come there, they behave badly, and they expect me not to say anything. Hold on. Don't do stupid shit if you don't want people to talk about it. I don't do it.
You would know everything that happens in this town.
I've seen a lot. I also
you would
got to be careful.
You know, tin roofs the walls of ears, and you tin roofs.
Absolutely.
You know, so it's,
you see it. I was asked a question once upon a time. How do you live with yourself? You are the reason why most people cheat and drink too much and whatever. It's like, hold on. All I see is happy people.
Relax.
Yeah. But there is that. There's people that think that. There's people that act on that. Facebook's my favorite. Like when they go, hey?
And I'm sure
and we just get glad basted. I got 400 hits on somebody that was spiked at tin roof. They were experimenting in MDMA and told their parents that the drink was spiked. Like, it's, yeah.
And highlights?
That certainly the Mugabe night. That it was just such a positive energy for the country. When it's the small things and the big things. When I'm sitting there with, like, we do a mums and daughters every year, and all the mums and daughters are together, and there's no drama, it's just humor. Christmas carols, I love them.
Yeah.
Like, it's that community basis, it's where we started from, it's what we get to see every day. I love the fact that my customers are now my friends. I know their history, I know what they do every day, I know their children, they've introduced their children, when they come home with their family comes there, and it's like, oh, this is where we like to go. I love that. To be able to, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to be able to explore with eventing, and I never do an event for money anymore, it's all for a charity. To be able to have the basis for something like riding for rhinos.
Yes.
That started off bad bait. I had to learn how to show jump a horse. We bought an airplane last year for anti-poaching. It's great.
Well done.
I love that.
Well done.
But I would never have that exposure. I wouldn't have the grounding or the financial means or the core base to create an event like that if it weren't for tin roof. So I'm very grateful for it. And again, the community. When you look at things like jail and bail, that is putting people behind bars for 4 hours of the day, and they're raising enormous amounts of money from it because of our community.
Yes.
And everybody pulls in and pulls through, and I'm so grateful that we're part of that and that there's a home base for it. It's amazing.
Jessica, well done. You know, a very big well done. And being Zimbabwean myself, one of the things I'm happiest about or most grateful for is our communities, and to have somewhere like Tin Roof where our community can gather and meet other people and come together with other people and have a fun night, whether it's a bit of a blowout or if it's just a chilled lunch at Tin Roof, you know, which is never a chilled lunch at Tin Roof. But it's you know, it's what you've provided for us over the last 13 years, you know, and for me personally, I'm proud of you, you know.
Thank you.
To have a 21-year-old coming and starting this up, well done.
Thanks, Pari. I mean, it's so great. But quite often it gets said to me, like, if I feel like anything, I'll just pop into the tin because I know that somebody is going to be there, and if it's not me, it's my mom or my dad or like their friend or somebody that they haven't seen. It's so amazing that there is that nucleus where you can go there by yourself, which is unusual in this country. Nobody goes out by themselves.
Yeah.
But you can go there and you know that you're going to be safe and you're going to have time and you're going to find somebody that you like. I mean, we never planned it. It just happened, and I'm grateful for it. I love it.
And the highs will always be there, the lows will always be there. We ride it.
But like everything in life, there's highs and lows.
I give you that.
Ride it, eh?
You ride the wave, baby. You ride that barrel with that barrel finishes and you at the break, you swim back.
And also, don't be scared of losing. If I think about all the things that I thought were going to break me over the last 13 years, none of it matters anymore. Like, you can do it. You can do anything.
Amen.
When it's rough, learn. When you're sailing, sail.
Amen, baby.
Adjusting.
Amen.
Go for it. Have fun. And I think that's also the most important part of my job, is that it's never been, when I say never, I mean, there's obviously shit days, but it's mostly fun. And I think everybody should be having fun every day.
Absolutely.
Why not?
Absolutely. Joe Bray, thank you for your time. Thank you for opening up and telling us some stories, and, and telling us about your journey. Because I think it's a hell of a journey. And I don't think it's the end, or it's not even clear. It's not even close to the end. You've still got so much in you. There's still so much Tinubu has to give. There's going to be many more stories that are going to come out of that place.
Wait for my book.
Let's wait for the book. That Jay Bray book.
Wait, it gets better.
I'm so excited for it all, and I'm sure all the viewers are grateful for your time here. So thank you so much.
Cool. Thank you, Pari. Thanks. It's been real fun being here, actually.
Good. I'm glad. That's what we want. We want you to have fun.
Gone is the paddock.
Yeah. We've got you over the paddock, but it always turns out right.
Like that, nice at 10, I guess.
Well, cheers, Jay. You're a star.
Cheers, Pari.
Thank you. Guys, we love you. Thank you for your support. Peace and love, baby. Cheers. Ciao. Bye. Well done.
Pari, what a treat.
Well done. That was good. Unreal.